Good morning, Nudgee College. If those boys who are moving around the hall could please take a seat. We'd like to start in about 30 seconds. Please make your way to a seat, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Week 3 Term 2 Assembly. It's wonderful to have Years 5 and 6, as well as Years 7, 9 and 12 here in CBCC. And we also welcome Years 8, 10 and 11 online. Boys in PC group, you're most welcome. I know it's a bit harder to watch online, but I'd ask PC tutors to please make sure we haven't got any distractions and that our full attention is on the assembly. We'll be building in this, what is hopefully a post-COVID time, in towards full participation and attendance here in the Christian Brothers Centre at our next assembly. Today we have a focus on learning and teaching, and we'll be hearing from Ms. Natalie Webber, and she'll be introducing the Learning Habits Awards, as well as some information about NAPLAN that's coming up. We'll also have a focus on performing arts, and we look forward to listening to Mr. Smith talk to us about music and how it works across our subjects, and also a musical performance will be with Thomas Mallet, will be coming up later on. Of course, we'll hear from our acting principal, Mr. Johnston, who's got some important messages for us before we get the wrap-up from Mr. Cannellan, who's going to outline what's going to be a very busy week with lots of college events. And of course, we'll finish with our 3 cheers, and then we'll be led and invite you to sing with us our school song. We begin, though, with an acknowledgement of country. Nudgee College acknowledges the Turrbal people of Meanjin, First Nations people, and part of the oldest living continuing culture in the world. They are the traditional custodians of these lands and waterways, which they call Numidji and Nada, and we call Nudgee. We acknowledge their ancient customs and the law of the land, and we pay our respects and acknowledge all ancestors, elders, and communities across this nation and neighbouring islands. I now invite Mr. Mara to lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Sepatos, and good morning, everyone. On Thursday, we will gather as a whole school on the Wilkes Oval steps to celebrate the Feast of Blessed Edmund Rice. We gathered in this space last term to celebrate St. Joseph. Our school is named in his honour. We consider St. Joseph our patron saint. St. Joseph is an aspiration for us as men and women of faith. That St. Joseph's story, though, is intertwined with the story of the Christian Brothers and their founder, Edmund Ignatius Rice, who we consider to be blessed. And that is that, in terms of saints, we as a community founded by the Christian Brothers and continue to educate in the Edmund Rice condition, we can consider him a saint. His life was one lived in response to God's invitation. And the men that joined the order of the Christian Brothers responded to that same invitation. So on Thursday, we look at what that invitation was then in 1802 and what it continues to be in this community who tries to live in the footsteps of Edmund. The Christian Brothers themselves, in their thinking about who Edmund was and what he means to them, have decided that they would sum the charism of Edmund up in 3 words: presence, compassion, and liberation. Now, a charism is the spirit and the culture of a particular religious community. And discerning what the charism and the culture, spirit and the culture of a particular religious community is, it can be difficult to really define finally what that is. Because as a living thing, it changes and it grows every day. But presence, compassion, and liberation are the words that they use to summarise the life of Edmund, who gave up his fortune to teach people, to give them an education. himself, not to pay others to do it. He just didn't build the schools and then let someone else do it. He did it himself. Presence. And he did it because he felt strongly the need for that in these people's lives. Passion. And he knew that through an education, people had options. People had choices. People could enjoy a greater freedom than they have without an education. Liberation. But those three words imply other things. We are to be truly present to others, to stand with them, to be a part of their lives. Then we are witnesses to their joys, their triumphs, and their failures. We are witnesses to every up and down and every human reality. And we are witnesses to the human reality. We see the face of God in others, and we are witnesses to the faith. We are witnesses to God's presence in our lives. And when we stand with others, we cannot help but to feel compassion for them. Literally, to feel with and for. And if we have any experience of compassion in our own lives, then the natural human reaction to that is generosity. If we are not willing to give back when we receive, if we are not willing to provide to others out of the grace and the blessings that we have been given, then there is something a little wrong with us. However, sadly, we see that every day. People want to hoard, they want to keep, they feel the need to be selfish. But an authentic response to God's invitation, to God's compassion in our life, must be one of generosity. And through that giving away, we find liberation. Through giving to others, we find the freedom to realize that having and being isn't everything in life, but that living that life with others brings freedom, and sharing with others brings liberation. Whether it be sharing our knowledge in an education, or sharing what we have with others, or just sharing ourselves and being present to them, standing with them, liberation, freedom comes with that. But with liberation also becomes responsibilities. We are not free ever to live our life without regards to others. Every human must live side by side with everybody else in the world. Our freedom comes with responsibilities to be present to others, to be generous with what we have. The choice then to do that is the real freedom. That is where we find true liberation. So on Thursday, we will be asked to sit, to pray together, and to ask ourselves, are we people of presence, compassion, and liberation? And if so, if we say yes to that, to Edmund's invitation, to share in the invitation of God, then are we witnesses to the faith? Are we witnesses to the goodness of human life? Are we generous with ourselves, with each other, and in sharing that grace of God with others? And do we take responsibility to be people of goodness, to be a sign of faith, to allow ourselves to live in community, knowing our responsibilities and obligations to others? I'm not sure I am always and everywhere those three things. But let us pray this morning to Edmund that he may ask God for those graces and those gifts for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. O God, we thank you for the life of Blessed Edmund Rice. He opened his heart to Christ, present in those oppressed by poverty and injustice. May we follow his example of faith and generosity. Grant us the courage and compassion of the Blessed Edmund as we seek to live lives of love and service. Amen. Live Jesus in our hearts. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good morning, Mr. Johnston, special guests, staff, parents, and men of Nudgee. This morning we celebrate the achievements of those students who have received Learning Habits Awards. In my opinion, these awards are among the most noteworthy of all given out at this great college. Why? Because they recognise hard work and persistence. They recognise those students who show up every day, partner with their teachers, and commit to learning. The students who you will see presented this morning have been reported by their teachers as demonstrating outstanding or good learning habits in all of their subjects throughout Term 4 of last year and Term 1 of this year. An exception to that is our Year 5 students who have, of course, just started at Nudgee this year. Within each of their houses and year levels, these boys have demonstrated the highest standard of learning habits. These awards are accessible to all of you because they are not derived from grades or determined by talent. They are based around 4 criteria. Firstly, classroom application and participation. This does not just mean turning up and doing what is asked of you. It's about engagement and habits of mind, like listening with understanding and empathy and thinking about my thinking. Can I retell another person's idea, pose questions, and express my interest in a topic? The second criteria is organisation. This does not just mean having the right equipment for each lesson. That is part of it, but it is also about goal setting and habits of mind like managing impulsivity and thinking flexibly. Next is classroom behaviour. Beyond keeping out of trouble, your classroom behaviour involves demonstrating habits of mind like remaining open to continuous learning. It asks each of you to deal with the unexpected, to be humble, and to resist complacency. Finally, the last criteria is study habits and homework. This goes beyond making sure you meet deadlines. It is about employing habits of mind like persisting and striving for accuracy, using a variety of ways to solve problems and stay on task. In the grand scheme of your learning journey here at Nudgee College, there are some things you cannot control. Just like in life, there are certain things, even as adults, that we cannot control. Term 1 of this year was highly disruptive as a result of many factors outside of our control. COVID and floods are 2 examples of these. But in the midst of these things, your learning habits are something you can control. In fact, you are the only person who can determine your learning habits. Your parents and teachers can offer you feedback and guidance, but ultimately, it is up to you to make sure you come to class ready to learn. It is up to you to actively engage in your lessons and participate in homework and study outside of class time. This morning's award recipients have done these things. They offer you a model for what it looks like to be a successful learner at Nudgee College. I now invite Mr. David Johnston to the stage to congratulate our award winners, and I will hand over to Mr. Paul Casalino, our program leader for junior school curriculum, to present the Years 5 and 6 awards.
Thank you, Ms. Webber. Good morning, Mr. Johnston, special guests, parents, staff, and men of Nudgee. It is my great pleasure to present the Learning Habits Awards to students in Year 5 and 6. Please hold your applause until the end. In Year 5, the award recipients are Ollie Abdi, Finn Andrews, Lachlan Black, Tom Eagles, Cooper Henderson, Jude LaRosa, James Manning, Janav Patel, Zealand Tamati, Ashton Thorne, and Aidan Weaver. Can we please congratulate our Year 5 award recipients? In Year 6, the award recipients are Joshua Andrews, Spencer Blake, Ethan Dahl, Jordan Irvine, Archie Jentz, Alexander Late, who is absent today, Duke Moore, Finn Oliver, Harry Orr, and Patrick Story. Can we please congratulate our Year 6 award recipients? I would now like to welcome Leslie Gardner, the Head of Faculty for Humanities, to the stage.
Good morning, Mr. Johnston, special guests, parents, staff, and men of Nudgee. It is my privilege to present the Learning Habit Awards to students in Years 7, 8, and 9. In Year 7, the award recipients are Sydney Bates, Gurman Buller, James Carroll, Jay Ho De Geer, Henry Guise, Oliver Hadwin, Austin Hollis, Santiago King Scott, Suhan Lashand, Troy Lee, and Felix Woolmer. Can we please congratulate our Year 7 award recipients? In Year 8, the award recipients are Ethan Andrews, Jacob Brown, Andre De Clara, Sam Duffy, Edward Gary, Isaac Johannes, Cooper Keeley, Harrison MacGyver, Nicholas Phillip, can we please congratulate our Year 8 award recipients? In Year 9, the award recipients are Tejas Ashok, Ben Goggin, Matthew Heath, Mark Healy, Charlie Lyons, Reese Napper, Tanush Patel, Ryan Stewart, Ash Taylor, and Michael Williams. Can we please congratulate our Year 9 award recipients? I would now like to welcome back to the stage Miss Natalie Webber, the Dean of Learning and Teaching, Acting. Thank you.
Good morning again. It is my privilege to present the Learning Habits Awards to students in Years 10, 11 and 12. In Year 10, our award recipients are Patrick Cook, Will Curran, George Gillam, Lachlan James, who is away today, Ryan Crowe, Ryan Lovelock, Michael Malone, Nicholas Petridis, Dusty Piper, and Oscar Roati. Can we please congratulate our Year 10 award recipients? In Year 11, the award recipients are Xavier Corrie, Dean Destros, Jacob Gillam, who is away today, Oliver Keeley, Patrick Kennedy, who is away today, and Wade Lucas, who is also away, Anthony Maneo, Patrick Townsend, and Callum Turner. Can we please congratulate our Year 11 award recipients? Finally, in Year 12, the award recipients are Lachlan Bancroft, Javier Burke, Jim Collins, Thomas Malone, Caleb O'Mealy, Harry Roati, Thomas Robertson, William Stewart, and Andrew Tora. Can we please congratulate our Year 12 award recipients and all students who received the Learning Habits Award. I'm now going to pass over to Miss Bonnie Becker, our Acting Director of Learning and Teaching, who will speak to you about NAPLAN next week.
Good morning, Mr. Johnston, special guests, parents, staff and students. While my message today is aimed at our Year 5, 7 and 9 students, what I am about to say also rings true for the rest of our student cohort in terms of testing, attitude and giving your best. Next week we commence NAPLAN 2022, and perhaps for some of you, this term is met with an adverse reaction and comments such as, why do we have to do NAPLAN? And what does it actually test? And it is true that NAPLAN can't tell us a number of things about you. It can't tell us whether you have a natural talent for science, whether you are a gifted artist, or whether or not you have an exceptional musical ability. It also doesn't tell us whether you are on your way to being a competitive professional athlete or are a captivating public speaker. And it doesn't tell us whether you are kind and caring and supportive of others. But NAPLAN and any type of diagnostic testing does tell us several important things. It helps us use educational data in meaningful ways, in ways that support your learning as students here at the college. If we notice a particular trend in your NAPLAN answers, it helps us address these patterns so that you are given the best possible education at Nudgee. All data is useful as it focuses on schools' efforts in the gaps in learning and drives improvement across the system. Without such information, we cannot possibly know in what areas we need to focus, but also we cannot know the areas in which we are doing well. Our goal is to help you improve, and our belief and aim here at Nudgee is that every one of you can make excellent progress in literacy and numeracy. But NAPLAN testing is not just an opportunity for your teachers to learn more about your literacy and numeracy skills, but it is an opportunity for you to do your very best, and it is this that actually is possibly the most important skill that you can learn from such a process. If you aim to participate in NAPLAN in a positive manner and make it a successful experience, it will actually set you up for all the examinations that you will do between now and the end of your school journey. So to the Year 5, 7 and 9 students in front of me today, I challenge you to give your best next week. Do not compare yourself to others. For each test, focus on challenging only yourself. Think of the NAPLAN tests like you would your favorite game. Perhaps a game like Fortnite, or a lunchtime game such as handball or basketball. When you prepare to play these games, you essentially focus on 3 things. Firstly, you play your best game. Your focus is on earning a victory royale or shooting a slam dunk. Secondly, you use skills previously learned through playing these games. And finally, you aim to have fun. As you head into NAPLAN testing next week, I'd like to use these same skills. Firstly, for each test, give your best. If you're asked to write a short story, make it the most interesting short story you have ever written. If you're asked to write a persuasive essay, persuade the reader into agreeing with you. Use your mathematical skills and knowledge to problem solve. Read passages carefully before selecting an answer. Secondly, use the literacy and numeracy skills you already have to create great responses. Use the techniques you've been taught and the things that you already know. And finally, have fun. NAPLAN is a chance to do something different, to be removed from your normal daily structure, and instead of feeling nervous about this, use this as an opportunity to practice having a positive attitude. So I leave you with this final message to remember: don't stress, just do your best. Thank you. I'd like to call our Year 12 Studies prefects to the stage.
Good morning, Mr. Johnston, members of the CLT, special guests, staff, and men of Nudgee. Today, on behalf of the study prefects, I'm excited to announce the start of our weekly peer-to-peer tutoring session, which we'll offer to the Year 7 students. This will be a fantastic opportunity to reinforce the classroom learning and will commence in week 4. It will be a space where students can bring along any work from their core subjects and receive help from several Year 11 tutors, helping to promote a strong study habits in a friendly, relaxed environment.
Each session will run in the junior fiction area of the library from 3:15 to 3:45 every Monday afternoon, beginning in week 4, which is the week after next. To our Year 7 students, you would have received an email from us over the weekend outlining further details, and please don't be afraid to reach out if you have any further questions. We'd love to see you all there, so feel free to come along just to try it out if you think you might be interested. If there are any more Year 11 students eager to get involved as tutors who haven't already signed up, you can also contact Elliot, Harry, or myself for more. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Johnston, CLT, parents, colleagues, special guests, and men of Nudgee. It is my privilege today to introduce Thomas Mallet to perform for you. But before this, however, I want to take a moment to think about the academic benefits of learning music and playing an instrument. To do this, I'll quickly speak to you about a real-life example of how learning music can improve academic outcomes. Chalice Primary School is a small primary school in Western Australia, approximately 4,300 kilometres from Nudgee. Until recent years, it's not been fortunate enough to have a music program and have students learning instruments. This changed in the past few years with the help of the ABC and a few famous musicians, including James Morrison, Dr. Anita Collins, and Guy Sebastian in particular. The ABC created Don't Stop the Music, which is a 3-part documentary series that follows the journey of the primary school and its transformative effects that music has on its students, teachers, and families involved. Please watch the screen now to see what I'm talking about.
All across Australia, too many children are missing out on the joy of music.
Musically trained kids.
For these kids from the suburbs,
Where are your school uniforms, boys?
I want these kids not to have
Brains that literally work better.
but for these kids from the suburbs,
Where are your school uniforms, boys?
I want these kids not to have any disadvantage.
all that's about to change.
Children, more than anyone, need music.
So, with a little hard work
When we're singing badly, it sounds like a cats are dying.
and a big helping hand,
Can you imagine some of my children with these?
it's time to unleash
Shut everything else out and try and feel the song.
the power of music in our schools.
I'm so proud of you.
Don't Stop the Music starts November 11, ABC and iView.
In 2019, I was privileged to travel to Western Australia, and I had the opportunity to meet with the principal of Chalice, Mrs. Lee Musamichi. She spoke of improvement she noticed in her school, and particularly the academic improvement she saw in her students. To prove it, she showed me some data from a test that you all know and love, NAPLAN. She compared the historical student achievement data from Chalice to her current data. Year 5 students who were involved in the program were below average in reading, grammar, and writing, and after the test, they went to above average in reading and grammar and met WA state average in writing scores. The only change at the school, every student started learning a musical instrument. Now that's something to think about. Thomas started his musical journey at Nudgee when he was in grade 5, and he was allocated the flute as a part of our grade 5 band immersion program. He continued with this instrument and showed great aptitude. He is now a member of the Queensland Conservatorium Young Con and plays with the Queensland Youth Orchestra. He has performed at GPS Music, the State Honours Ensemble program, and is currently partaking in the audition process to represent Nudgee at the Australian Honours Ensemble program. Today he'll play a piece for you called Poulenc's Flute Sonata for Flute and Piano, Movement Number 1, which he performed for his FIA Performance Assessment in Senior Music. Please welcome him to the stage, accompanied by Mrs. Sparks.
Thank you to Tom and to Ms Sparks for that. That was wonderful. Gentlemen, there's been a very much an academic focus to today's assembly with that music flavour there at the end. I'm going to change tack just a little bit now. I want to talk about some surveys that have been conducted by the college over the past 3 or 4 months. A Year 12 exit survey, parent exit survey, a Year 5 transition survey and a Year 7 transition survey. So some of the people who filled out those surveys are sitting in the room now. These surveys are important to the school. The data will be used to underpin school improvement. It'll help practices and it'll help us move forward as a college. Overwhelmingly, I'm happy to say the college has received positive and supportive feedback for what we are doing and the journey we are on. But we always need to keep improving. Nothing is ever perfect. A culture of listening to feedback from our community must be in place. So there are 2 main areas of concern, and this is aimed at you boys, so I need you to listen. The first, in my opinion, is a really simple one to fix. It is one that some people find hard to talk about. And I'm sure there's going to be some sniggering and some nervous laughter as I talk about it. The first concern is our toilets, their use and the way we leave them as a college. I think this is a very easy problem for us to fix, and I want to use a play on words from the senior motto. The senior motto says or asks us to own your journey. I would like you to own your space. Leave a toilet the way you found it. There are 2 simple rules I want you to follow. If you miss, you wipe. Ready, aim, fire. Think about it, gentlemen. I know there's going to be some sniggering in classrooms, but put simply, we want you to be considerate. Aim straight and leave the toilets the way you find them. Such a simple change from all the survey comments made would make a significant difference to our community. And you are in control, boys. The next change is not a simple one to make, and it will be a challenge. But again, you need to own this. A lot of people spoke of a form of bullying that can occur at the college. And it wasn't physical bullying, and it wasn't about social media and bullying through that medium. There was a suggestion that our most prevalent form of bullying is one that centres around exclusion. And I've spoken in assembly earlier this year about the concept of being a diverse community, challenging each of you to make us truly an inclusive community. Taking this into consideration, I'd ask us to look at ourselves. And there are 3 questions that I can see are up already. Are we kind to each other? Do we accept each other? Do we include everyone? And ironically, I think that ties quite nicely in with the way we started the assembly. Mr. Mara spoke about presence, compassion and liberation. Keep those 3 words in mind. Kindness. This is very evident and easy to achieve. It simply means each person is going to be polite, say the right thing and treat each other nicely. This includes a simple hello and saying please and thank you at the appropriate times. It includes helping a classmate with their work or answering a question when they ask, or simply doing anything that is going to make someone's day just that bit better. Kindness takes little effort, and it is a minimum expectation of every Nudgee student. Second, we have acceptance. Things go further than simply being kind. It involves you boys recognising that we are all different, and there is just not one form of cool or normal that we accept. This means if other boys have different interests, different strengths, different challenges, or even different quirks, as an accepting community, we embrace their uniqueness. Gentlemen, I think we can do better here. I know we are a diverse community, but are we always accepting? Do we acknowledge that every single member of the Nudgee community is valued and makes an important contribution to our community? Do we honestly see every person the way God sees him, wonderfully and perfectly made in his image? Do we see that our role is to build each other up, not tear each other down? If we are accepting, then we don't care that someone is different. We look for their gifts and talents rather than focusing on the things that make them different to us. Gentlemen, if you have switched off, sit up and listen. It's easy to reject someone. It takes strength to accept them. And finally, inclusion. Inclusion and acceptance go hand in hand. The challenge for all Nudgee gentlemen is to break the mould of that stereotypical too school for school mentality that can seep into friendship groups. True inclusion means that you are well aware of how your action or inaction may make someone feel, how you might exclude them, make them feel alone, or basically make them feel sad. When you deliberately ignore someone, exclude them, or make them feel unwelcome, or poke fun at them, then you are not showing understanding of something that is core to our Edmund Rice traditions. You are not showing what it means to extend dignity to every person, to be an inclusive community, or even to be tolerant, caring, and a just community. Being kind is easy. Accepting and including takes real strength and real courage. Being able to accept and include is what separates the Nudgee student from the Nudgee gentleman. My hope is you boys can show self-respect as well as respect your peers and college property while keeping the toilets clean. The tougher challenge is to embrace not just kindness, but acceptance and inclusion. And as parents and teachers, we need to help you develop an understanding and consideration and empathy. We owe it to you and to every member of our diverse community to call you out when you make those mistakes. Boys who can demonstrate an understanding of and ability to behave in this way are boys who are true signs of faith. And those boys who have leadership aspirations, these are the sort of boys we want to lead the school. Finally, one of our mums on the weekend at the Year 12 boys and their mothers function, Mrs. Rawadi, said something very simple. Simple actions can mean big things to others. Be kind, gentlemen. Include people. Be a Nudgee gentleman. Gentlemen, I'm going to finish now with just a short video that emphasises those facts. Have a good week.
Good morning, everyone. Gents, as Mr. Sabatos said, we've got a number of things to get through to give you the details of what the next couple of days look like. But before I do, just need to reinforce a couple of our standards and our expectations. Now, I must admit, a little disappointed with the constant buzz throughout our assembly this morning, the buzz of whisper. Now, granted, this is the first time we've had this many boys back in the assembly for many, many months. However, you know that our expectations are clear. Our assembly is a special event where, as a community, we come together, boys, parents, staff. We celebrate and acknowledge the wonderful achievements and all those great things that we do from week to week. So your participation in that assembly is vital. And as unfortunately Mr. Johnston needed to mention, that some of you need to sit up straight and be much more focused. And also touch on our haircuts, and again, a number of you are still pushing the boundaries on that. Please be aware, House Deans will be issuing detentions today and tomorrow for anyone still not meeting that standard. If you have your hair cut before Friday, then the detention will be cancelled. You need to get moving on that, please. Finally, just on our uniform, also a number of boys sitting in this hall without their blazer. Some of you have got it on your laps. If that's the case, put it on now, please. If you have not got your blazer today with you, you are going to wait behind and see me at the end of the assembly. Okay, moving to Wednesday. As you know, our showcase preparations are well on the way, and it's a super event for our community to come together. Some details, hopefully, on the board behind me now will outline what our Wednesday looks like. As you know, it's our dress rehearsal or our stage rehearsal. So extended PC will run to 9:35, where all houses will be doing their final practices. Then on a Friday bells time frame, we will move to our normal Wednesday periods 1 to 5. And as you can see, 2 houses at a time for each period. Gents, please be clear that both houses at the start of each period will come to the Christian Brothers Conference Centre. So if we look at period 1, for example, Tierney, you will move straight inside and begin your rehearsal. And Barrett, you will wait with your house dean and support staff out on the balcony space between here and Hendry Oval. Okay, if you're not clear of any of that, please catch up with your house dean. For Thursday, as we know, it's our Edmund Rice Feast Day liturgy. So you will go to PC as normal, and when the bell rings, move to Wilkes Oval. So our liturgy will be on Wilkes. Please remember to bring a hat. Periods 2 to 5 will be normal classes for Thursday. And then each house is slightly different, but in general, between 3 and 4:15, you'll be in house spaces with final practices. Okay, our doors will open at 4 o'clock for parents and community. The bands will begin, and then at 4:30 sharp, we'll make a start. I hope everyone's clear with that. The important event that I want to finish with today is our Mother's Day on Sunday. So Mr. Johnson alluded to the beautiful mass and lunch we have with our Year 12 boys and their mums on Sunday. And we'll also go back to some of our messages around gratitude. What a wonderful opportunity for you to show that gratitude for your mother or those special women in your life who have loved you and cared for you and supported for you every single day. So gents, please take the time on Sunday to make that special for your mums and give some of that love and appreciation back to you, as I know you would. Now, I'm looking at Harry Rawadi. I believe we've got Isaac Mills for our 3 cheers today. So is Isaac, are you there and ready? Here he comes.
3 cheers for the Learning Habits Award winners. Good on you, fellas. Rip in for NAPLAN, boys. Cheers, Tommy. Sick performance, mate. Respect the toilets like 3 game fire. Big content inclusive. Get around showcase. Show your mothers some gratitude this Sunday. Let's make this one loud, boys. In go we. Yeah. In go we. Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac, and thank you to parents and friends who've joined us online and here in the hall, and to all the boys in PCs and here as well. Of course, we're going to finish, after all those wonderful messages, with our school song. Up on stage, you see we have a border singing group, so thank you, boys, for your preparation for today's school song. But that's an opportunity for you to participate, not to sit and listen, but to sing that school song with some great pride alongside these boys who are leading you. So let's be upstanding, please, for our school song. Please be seated, gentlemen. I invite parents and guests, if you'd like to exit now, please, before the stampede of nudgy boys, or nudgy gentlemen, hopefully leaving quietly. Thank you for your participation today. A reminder to those boys who do not have their blazer, if you would remain seated. I'd ask the boys on this side of the room to exit via these side doors. Do not go out the back.